Welcome back to Roadside Nuggets, folks. Let me get the camera on Telegram, and we are popping. Awesome. Well, we are now in day 2 of the equinox energies rolling out, smacking everybody on the head, waking everybody up. Definitely, I want to start off by expressing how much of a clean slate this actually is for everybody. We're going to talk more about kind of just what more the fall, wintertime energies are more about, what that causes, collectively for the consciousness on the planet, but also too what that means for you and your individual experience, just with the things that are coming up. What that means, it's not just like this whole anticipation and paranoia about what is coming up or what I got to deal with, what do I have to transform. What's the higher perspective? What's the higher outcome? What does that mean ultimately for you? What's that going to allow? What new opportunities are going to be able to come in now? What is going to allow you to push more through, now because you're making it through this part. So, just before we even get to that part, the clean slate, everybody envision what a clean slate feels like. In 2009, this is actually where Mom actually gave humanity a full clean slate. She wiped the karmic slate completely clean in 2009. And in 2009, so basically everything that we have done up to this point is humanity over the past few lifetimes on the planet, no matter what culture, what we were doing, all that karma buildup that it was going to be impossible for us to get through that, let alone just the ones from this life with how in it we all are. So Mom completely wiped it clean from 2009 all the way back. The karmics, it's cleared. So, however, the karma just generated, from 2009 up to this point, that's really all humanity has to really energetically be responsible for. Everything else, of course, that's coming up, it's not necessarily karma, it's more of just the energy density that's in your body. Okay, there's difference in these energies. Karma is more of an outside enforcement, okay? It's not something that's happens inside of you. It's like your body just does something, then that's karma. No, karma is an external enforcer to help correct out of line energies. So it comes into the experience because it's designed that way to help keep the balance and flow. So where we have density, where we have blocks in our body, that was already put there. That's already there and has been there for years and years. Sometimes even since childhood, it's just accumulated. So by the time you become aware of it, it's not that it's something new relatively to you or your body. It's just you're just now catching on to it. That this has been always occurring under the surface. You have not been conscious of it. So we got to get out of this victim shock shell kind of perspective where things are just coming and colliding into us and we're just the victim of our happenings. No, a lot of these things have been perpetuated and persisted on our own behalf, stubbornly, without delay. And that's what has built up these different amounts of blocks, density, build-ups, different, trauma core wounds, layers on top of that, all kinds of different things, belief systems. That didn't just get there and just happen. We allowed it, we applied it, we chose it, we accepted it, we invested energy in it, so to some extent we believed in it. Therefore, you're fully accountable, responsible. So at this point, as this is, basically these high energies, and this is one of the massive things about, these energetic portal dates. Anything that happens with, eclipses or solstice, equinox, you name it, the big, astrological events throughout the year, they are massive pressure cookers. Okay? And this is actually a good idea. We'll use this as an example. So, these are Aurora's beautiful new project. So these are the crystal wands. So they have crystals in them and beautiful rose petals and gold and silver flakes and toppled in there, and they're very beautiful. However, I want to use this as an example because what I want to talk about is piezoelectricity. Okay, it's an effect that happens organically throughout nature, and it causes change. It causes metaphysical change, metamorphosis. So on just this, so this obviously wasn't like this before. So or put all these things in there, of course, in the crystal as well. So what happens with the resin and the epoxy? Basically, it as it hardens, it squeezes, right? So it's basically condensing in on itself. When that natural compression starts to occur, it starts to, there's certain things within us that are, the electrons and things, how the energy circuits through our body. Same thing with crystals, same thing, really anything in life. There's energy coursing through it. Now, when there's wide energy channels and everything's expanded, it's more of a steady, very limited flow of energy. However, when you squeeze it, and that energy is going to constantly be coursing through that, you now are increasing the amount of intensity coming from the actual, crystal, or whatever you're actually putting in this. Piezoelectricity works a lot with your body. Your bones, your teeth are piezoelectric, which means they conduct. They're conductible of electricity. And if you actually meditate and actually feel into your body enough and your sensitivities, you can actually feel the electrical current actually coursing through your teeth and down through your gum line and your jaw, coursing all the way through. There's an electrical current that basically currents through your teeth, and it bounces back and forth. Your teeth actually map out your entire part of your body. Organs, muscles, tissues, skin, you name it. Your teeth map all of it. And so a lot of issues and things with our health, especially related to teeth, also cross-reference with something else in the body that's out of balance. And so that's where, more of an exit point or a release point of the energy is coming through, which it's affecting that area as well. Anyways, back to piezoelectricity. So piezoelectricity is it basically, when it happens, it increases, the electrical current coursing through it as well. And since this is in a constant condensed state, it's not just a simple squeeze and then let go. It's always going to be hardened now in a condensed, squeezed form. So therefore, it's going to be basically pushing out energy on a consistent basis, radiating that out. It's basically a conduit now. It's now activated in that way. And these are a lot of the ways where naturally in our environment, the world and the collective energies around us work with us too. When these massive energies come in with the eclipses, solstice, equinox, you name it, all that, they are pressure cookers. They create higher atmospheric pressure of energy, higher vibration, and it compresses it in on the reality that we are in. Us going through this massive squeeze is going to get us to output ultimately more energy, right? When you're docile and comfortable and lackadaisical and just like half-assed, it's like, you're not really pushing a whole lot. There's not really a whole ton of energy just flooding you, just like, ooh, like no, you're just like, nonchalant, more stagnant. You're hitting a plateau. When the compression comes in and you are being squeezed from all angles in your experience in your life, every single corner you turn on, you're getting smacked and like it's causing transformation. This compression literally enforces more output of energy, thus causes more release, and thus allows from the extreme intensity and pressure, those deeper, more stubborn core rootings of energy that are density blocks in your body. The increased pressure allows it to start to break up finally, because it pushes so much pressure on it that it reaches at those core levels and it starts to uproot it and break it apart. Then it can basically dissolve, come to the surface, and go now through the releasing process that it hasn't been allowed to because of how deeply rooted it was and just condensed. So a lot of this is very fascinating. Crystals are grown in the same way, and a lot of crystals, like tourmaline, for example. Tourmaline is a natural stone, but basically it grows in like hair-like striations, like straight across, right next to each other in a very solid form. A lot like your nail. Your nail is actually not like, solid. It's actually like millions and millions of different little hairs that grow very closely together and together form your nail. So it's actually hair. It's pretty cool. So that's a lot of like what happens with tourmaline. So tourmaline is, so it goes to that condensed squeeze, how it compacts itself together, And now on both sides of the tourmaline, on one side it transmutes positive energy, and the other side transmutes negative energy. So it's literally transmuting continuously 24/7 now, because it's under a compressed state, and thus the energy it is radiating is also consistent now, right? So it's like a battery that just never runs out. You know, it really empowers and helps push more energy through. You know, so it's a simple, natural part of our process of being multidimensional and what we're capable of. Just a cool fact. We'll get more into that stuff with piezoelectricity, and I'll probably have a whole live stream about it. It's really some really cool, deep stuff. We'll look at pyramids. We'll look at different forms of crystals that are formed under it and what that causes the energy to do because of that. Transformation is really awesome. Getting to the clean slate, though. You know, the equinox energies are definitely, they're massive in a way of where they get us prepared for moving into fall, winter time. It's like that big, it's pretty much the line. We're crossing it now. We're moving now into fall. We're in it. You know, and then winter time. So this is more of like the internal, the deep internal, but also the external parts of our reality, ourself, that undergo massive change. Okay, you know, like springtime and summer, there's a lot of external, there's a lot of outward energy. Everything was constantly just like coming up and exploding outward. Now, once we hit fall and winter, that's where things start to slow down, and we go deep inward. And the changes we go through now during the fall and winter time frame are going to have massive effects on our individual self, but also our external world. How everyone's seeing things, just what we're going to tolerate anymore, what we're going to deal with, what's important to us, everything. And you know, definitely, like, we're going through Libra right now, so a lot of it's like getting, you know, that balance, you know, the flow, and getting your bearings on everything, you know, having that stability. And then as soon as we hit Scorpio season, and it's all like, it's kind of tipping off the cliff, and we nosedive deep into ourselves and the collective shit, the darkness, the shadows that's been, you know, basically been going on the planet, that we are constantly in denial and bypass of, that we're not looking at. You know, so all this is definitely, it's getting queued up. Mom's got it all lined up like a parade. And she's like a 1, 2, 3, go, you know, and it's just going. So I guess, you know, the best thing you can do is just surrender, honestly. You know, these things are set up for our greatest benefit and our launching pad to become our greatest selves. You know, and like I said, you know, in order to have a clean slate, let's even talk about that. Because a lot of times we say we want things, or we say we would like an experience. We don't realize what it requires us to get to that experience, and then by that time, we no longer want to foot the bill, because the requirements are just too intimidating, or we just don't want to deal with it. It's too much work, you know. But that still doesn't deny that you still are pursuing, you know, that ultimate goal, right? So have a clean slate. Obviously, there's work to do. You know, you got to clean the slate in order to have a clean slate. So the collective energies coming in right now are just meant to help you move through that process. It's like getting a big shovel, and we're gonna dig up a lot of shit, a lot of stuff. Okay, moving into the fall and winter time, a lot of stuff's gonna come up, and a lot of it you've been preamped up for since the beginning of this year with the different things that were coming on, especially during Pisces season. That brought a lot of things about. That's where a lot of things started popping out on the news media. It was kind of like everyone was like in this like hazy type state, and there was just like information just flying by. It's just like this and that, and it was almost like disclosure was kind of having like a leaker moment or something like that. It was like a lot of things popped out during that time, and so like a lot of things have been placed on the table. People still have not slowed down yet to really pay attention to what they're going to do with what's now been placed on the table this year, what they've been dealt with, Biden, Trump, you know, children tunnel, like the whole 9 yards. Everything, single thing that this year has brought out, the worst and the best in humanity, all the different things, it's all on the table. And we haven't hit a point where everyone has assessed this and actually really had a good look at what actually was 2021 at this point. You know, it's almost over. We literally were speeding, like a speeding bullet train through it. And a lot of shit's happening. And so we get to this point now where we're the fall and winter. This is where the ego hasn't had enough time. See, Mom's brilliant. If you don't have enough time to really slow down and get all this, it's because you're not meant to. Because now as we hit this point, as we move deep internally, the ego hasn't had all these months to sit there and play and manipulate and toy with these different ideas in your head. You've been just moving and grooving. There's so much happening, so much information and just distraction. You just gotta, a lot of people are just like in bubbles. They have to, bypass. They have to dissociate because it's just it's too much. Now is when we get to this point, the ego also in the same place hasn't had a lot of time to do its thing. So now as we tip the nosedive downward into ourselves and really get a good look at it, it's almost like looking at these things for the first time, but it's been built up this entire year to this point. Okay? So there's a lot of preparation moms put into this to help everyone just upheave this and get this out. Ultimately, it's going to get us lighter. It's going to help us get the burdens off our shoulders, because if you keep carrying more stuff, putting things on you, blame, it's like, guilt, shame, all this crap, these are unnecessary things that make the journey harder, and thus also make the things that you have to fulfill harder to do as well. If you can't do things in joy, if you can't do things in service to love because you're constantly distracted and irritated by everything around you that you're attached to, it's going to create more conflict for you. Right? So the first thing you need to do, i.e., is assess all those different parts of yourself. Get those out the way. Therefore, whatever you are doing in service to love that you're pushing, expressing, you are showing and sharing, it is of your own authenticity. Okay? A lot of these things are going to be coming up, emotion, especially a lot of emotions too. Okay? And that's just going to be a big natural part, especially with high, the moon's not full anymore. I feel it was full like a couple days ago. But that high energy is still pushing through too. So the deep feminine energy washing away, pulling up, being us more, bring us more intuitively into ourselves. And the people who pay attention to this is the prime time to really experience yourself in contrast. In the moments where high amplified energy is happening on the planet, your spiritual abilities, your sensitivity, your consciousness, just a lot of your capabilities really come online because of the amplified energy. So if you not take advantage of it, but if you utilize these moments when the energy is very high to also practice and get a good hang of this can actually excel a lot of your spiritual ability as well in a big way. You're kind of using it as a catalyst, like a springboard. It's you can either jump with your own two legs, but if you have a springboard, you can jump higher, right? It's kind of the same way. So that's what these energies are like. It's like getting on a springboard, and you can go further with that energy if you work in alignment with that. And that's where we're there's the misconception where in 3D and spiritual community, it's like they talk about using energy. They use energy, or they manipulate energy, or they control energy. These are all parts of spiritual ego, because none of those above are true. None of them exist. We're not God. We can't do that. We work with energies, right? Because everything is energy. You are energy. So if you control energy, so that means you're saying you control yourself because you're energy, right? There's no way around it. We work with energies because everything's in unity, and energies are all conscious. They're all frequencies. They're all part of creation. They're all mom. So you don't control mom either. You work with mom. You work with energies. Get it? Once you consciously get that, once that registers for you, you can drop all the belief systems about trying to push your own will with energy, and you'll get a lot further with a lot of things that you're doing with yourself consciously. Whew. So thirsty. So yeah, basically, I'm going to say it again. I love ceremonies. I love talking about ceremonies. I've shared this before, and I feel it's an important topic too while we're even talking about ceremonies, is same in regards to prayer. Okay, Mom expressed this a couple years ago one time. And it's when a lot of times out of 3D, especially with religion based, people are taught when you pray or when you do these types of practices, you basically focus on everything that's wrong, or everything that's out of place, or the things that are hurting you, or what you're upset about. And I feel mom talked to us on the bed. She told us this, like, she already knows. Like if you're gonna waste God's time telling God what God already knows, it's like clearly she's sitting there watching the whole thing. So why are you gonna go spend those moments that you do spend with her complaining to her? You see, it's like, who wants to listen to that? She doesn't, So it's about, it like really changes your perspective of how you even see mom in your relationship with, how you communicate with mom too, and just working with God in a different way where it is more of a mother-child relationship. It's like you can talk to her, you can have a conversation. It doesn't have to be like this wild out of this thing like, oh yes mother, I serve you. It's like that's dumb. It's not actually human. It's not being organic or divine at all. And so just getting yourself to a point where it's like, focus on the things that are highest, only highest perspective, only being the most enthusiastic, positive, highest vibration you can possibly be with your idea, right? And that's what you focus on, especially with gratitude ceremonies, especially with prayers. If you're going to pray, focus on those things, right? Don't sit there and go to mom or the angels and be like, oh, well, please, don't let this happen. And please, I'm scared this is going to happen. Like, if you're going to throw up when you're going to talk to God, it's like, don't even do it, right? Because it's not even to be insensitive. You got to listen to me on this, okay? Don't take it personal. Every single thing you do is generating things. It's like dings everywhere. Every single thing you do is generating things. And so it's not about not wanting to hear what's going on. It's not about being, empathetic towards it at all. It's about how you are. What energy are you in when you're doing that? Is it like in this defeated, helpless, victim consciousness state where that's how you choose to express your truth? That's not truth. It's coming completely defeated, is coming completely without a solution. You have no intention of finding a solution. You have no intention of supporting or standing on your own 2 feet and doing it yourself. So why even ask for help if you're not willing to move it on your own? Right? And this is we gotta change this part where we are empowered. And so when we go to mom, when we go to the angels about something, we're working with. It's not passing the hot potato. It's not putting it on God. It's not putting it on the angels to deal with, and we just like walk the other way. No, we don't get to pass the hot potato. Okay, we are working with God. We are working with creation. We are working with the energies. Okay, and that's how it goes, always. And so we have to get out of this perspective where our will somehow overrides life. It overrides energy. It overrides other people. Your will does not, right? First of all, your will is completely individual to yourself. And two, your individual will it no longer exists, but within our linear reality, it's slowly disintegrating as people are catching on to this. But the truth is, it doesn't exist anymore. This planet is the only planet. I shared this on a session not too long ago, and it was actually a surprise to somebody, and I didn't realize how surprising it was, because I'm just anyway. So basically, with this planet is the only planet left in creation that has density, that has ego, that has darkness. Out of the entirety of all the multiverses out there, every single last one across all of creation, everything in existence, all the universes, this is the only planet out of every single space and out there that has darkness, ego, and an entire population out of alignment and out of flow with the divine decree, divine plan, and universal law, right? This is why we are receiving as much attention as we are from creation. This is also why we are all here on this point, on this planet for this mission, because this is the whole point and purpose of why we're here, is this specific task of dissolving the darkness, the last bit of this that exists out of all creation. And this is the last spot that it is, right? Yes, there are other planets, and Mom also shared this in her stories too, that there are other planets that are waiting on Mom to ascend from this planet, because the other planets were also waiting to ascend too, and they couldn't do it without Mom's help. that in no way meant that those planets were in the same state we are in, that they had density and darkness and were in the same. No, this is the only place in creation like this, with this going on down here. The other planets that are waiting on Mom to ascend, they are fully online. They're fully in unity consciousness with creation. They know Mom is God. They fully are aware of all this stuff going on, right? Their evolutionary process still is waiting on Mom to physically be there so she can ascend with them and help them through that process. So that's an entirely different situation from where we are on this planet, okay? So this truly is, it's a big thing. Like, there's no more demons. Demons are gone. I'm going to completely dissolve this for everybody here now today. It's been said many, many different times. We'll say it again. The demons are gone, okay? There are no ghosts. There are no, demonic forces, entities on this planet that can harm you, can affect you at all anymore. They have all been dissolved. They've all been evacuated off this planet, and they no longer exist within any of the realms and realities on this planet. They don't exist anymore here. Therefore, they have no interference, can affect us, nothing. Boom. So everyone can let go of those fears, those belief systems, all the different paranoias and anxieties. Those can all die today, okay? Be very important. It'll help everyone get a lot more confident with their spiritual abilities and just get more trusting, having faith in Mom, the angels, if they can just get around this whole big, elephant in the room that no one wants to really talk about. But yes, they don't exist, okay? When you start tapping into the angels and Mom, there's nothing you're going to find up there but love and divinity, okay? There is nothing else left for anything. All that exists on this planet is pretty much the ego. That's it. The ego and anything the ego can mimic or make up and fabricate, which would be fantasy, delusions, fear. But what you make that into, of course, that's all you. What you make that fear into, what you make that anxiety and paranoia into, that's all up to you and what you're allowing your mind to do. However, the reality of those actual entities existing in this reality are none anymore. They do not exist. God has evacuated them off the planet. They've been recycled. So we have no more excuses left. We have no more anybody else to blame on this planet other than yourself, because it's just the humanity right now that's still operating out of alignment. So we can move forward through that one. I felt that was pretty important to address because someone asked about that yesterday and I didn't get around to it. But then we also have, let's see, we had this here. Yeah, there we go. Hi, beautiful people. James Whitkus. Oh, wait, stop it. I was reading a comment. James Whitkus. As the background operating frequencies are rising, your body is changing at a cellular level. With the changes, it'll bring up things that have been buried down deep to the surface for you to work through, and so you can move forward and upward. Yepers. Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing? Got Linda, Astral Lynn, we got Krista, Igor, there's more people on here, but that's all it's showing in comments. It's weird. Okay, not really weird, it's like the same thing every day. But I did put a question and answer thing on here. Dun 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 dun. Whoa. I hope those aren't questions. That's a really long question. Okay, so some of the title, don't worry about it, asks, why hasn't Trump went after MSM sources for slander, written defamation over false insurrection claims, still false accusation of fraud claims, while still under audit and investigation, false tax claims stuff still, Russia stuff still. These are all more than 100% opportunity to go for written defamation and slander, and I'm no lawyer, but this should be very simple for anyone to see. So why isn't this happening at minimal? And again, everything is according to the divine plan. You know, if you're gonna get a big fish, and then you're gonna land that big fish, it's got to be flawless from start to finish. You know, and this is all what's being planned out. I mean, a lot of the stuff has been planned for years. How they've been going about, how they're going to disclose this to the people, how they're going to, you know, bring this about in people's awareness. Also with, you know, combating, you know, the current experience we're going through even right now with the vaccines and things. So obviously there's still active players that are not, you know, fully under, I wouldn't say control, but under authorities, you know, our correction authorities control yet. It hasn't fully been dealt with, you know, because there's still rogue operatives going, you know, doing things. So obviously these things are still playing out. And why are you going to sit there and, you know, bust open one can of worms when you can bust them all open at the same time and have a grand celebration all at once? And Mom definitely was, you know, she definitely talked about surprises and having, you know, that grand finale, you know, the event. So there's a lot of things that are still, you know, in the timeline that are ready to come up. And this is just, I mean, one piece added with so many other pieces makes a larger amount. It's heavier. It's got a lot more kick to it, you know? So regardless of it, you know, the timing of it all doesn't really matter at this point. We're not linear. And so at any point, like us talking about this right now, we could just get to the bottom of like, well, we don't know when it's going to happen. And then tonight we get the news and then boom, something happening. You don't know how fast it can happen. But if we sit here and attach to it that much, but waiting for the signs, waiting for something to be said that like hits a key phrase that you're waiting to be said on the radio or on the TV for you to know that, okay, it's on, green lights, we're in this thing, we're going, we're cooking. It's like you got to already trust that we're already in that already and just be already moving through it, and just the synchronicities will come to you, right? But we can't wait for the signs to initiate us. We have to be the initiator. We have to move forward. We have to make the choices, because everything else happening outside of ourselves is a reflection. It's more of like you could call it like a side effect. You know, there's cause and effect. You know, so your reflection, your external reality, is an effect of what you are transmitting. So you're the cause. So that means you have to tend to yourself and your energy first before you worry about anything else going on inside of yourself, because that will change in a moment if you work on this, right? This is what's causing the effect to happen, right? Where's the comments at? There we go. Let's see. And Zachariah said he did for like 5 years, and he took him to court, but court takes time, and he got millions of people to jump on the lawsuit, but again, time. Yeah, I mean, like these things they've been, like I said, built up for over the last couple of years. I mean, these things have been stacked up, and a lot of things have been said, like over a decade ago, getting ready for this moment right here, for the grandest, biggest takedown in human, quote unquote, history that you've ever seen, that we have ever seen in human history. Let's see. Question. Okay, this. The military. Interesting. So there's like a big question, and there's like all this like internal conversation. I was just reading about it. Some really good points everybody's pointing out with that. Someone asked, when is time? Oh, insane through media propaganda. Okay. This is very... Okay, so this might be another good one. So, someone said, then what is the holdup with military justice domestically? It's either our military is with, it's against us, right? With or against us, right? Well, by constitution, they would be with us. But by tyranny, who's to say they are with us at this point? They are carrying out idiotic commands from Captain Assad to kill innocent people, trafficking illegal immigrants, and aiding foreign countries at alleged time of need. I would say that doesn't sound like it's for us at all. I'm not saying I've lost faith completely, but there's a lot of unfathomable. I mean, I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's definitely a little bit down Jeri-Lee with a little negative salt in there. I love you. But yeah, definitely, again, do not attach to what is happening. I'll say it like, where's my stick at? Where's the stick? Attention, everybody, okay? Attention. Do not attach to what is happening outside of yourself, okay? Let it go. Has nothing to do with you, absolutely at all. Everything is part of a massive process that is underway. It's gonna keep going regardless of what you're doing in your experience, right? So you gotta look at yourself. What is going on with you? You can't keep, regardless of, obviously the world's fucked up. Obviously reality is messed up, right? So like your ego has endless things to sit there all day long and list everything that will trigger you, everything that gets under your skin, everything that makes you nauseous, everything that grosses you out, everything that pisses you off, everything you attach to, everything you don't want to exist anymore. Your ego can go on forever listing everything on this planet that you don't like and everything like that, or isn't going about how you want it to. Get it? It's all a distraction. Okay? It's all meant to grab your attention and keep you so focused outside of yourself, you're not paying attention to you and your transformation. That's where most of the stuff is happening at. Okay? The quicker you accelerate yourself, the quicker you change you and your energy and your consciousness, the quicker other things around you can start speeding up and changing too, right? It's so multidimensional. I mean, it's like a lot of different things to talk about, but I mean, it's just with simple energy, okay? Wherever your focus is, it will amplify with your energy. If your focus is outside of yourself, you are amplifying something else with your energy. If your focus is internal with you, you are amplifying your own energy. Okay? What you give focus to, you amplify and manifest. What you're focusing outside of yourself, you are amplifying and manifesting. What you focus internally with yourself, you are focusing and manifesting for yourself. Get it? We have to align this. We have to come back into this balance where we get this. Okay? Like, you got to get this point. Because this is a template, this is like a guideline, a ground rule in a lot of ways to help you stay on target and not get so shaky and then fall off. Right? We got to stay as centered as possible, because as these new things are coming online, as we are growing into our new self, as the old self is shedding off and falling away and dissolving, the new that's new to us, we don't know it yet. So it requires trust. It requires integrity, definitely, because you're working with yourself and a lot of vulnerability and innocence. And so to being honest and trustworthy and integrity with yourself, utmost is first priority. To make sure you are having a good experience, and also you are supporting and taking care of yourself in this new experience, that it's a new journey for you, okay? And as you are breaking out of all these belief systems, and all inadequacies and just different belief systems and things that you are not enough or invaluable, or your principles, every single thing about you, as it's falling off, the newness that's coming in, that's allowing an opportunity for something grander to be an idea that you hold now in that space of how powerful you are, of how beautiful you are, how strong you are, how capable you are, how brilliant you are, how wise you are, how enduring and just incredibly, just constantly consistent you are, and pushing through. All that is what needs to fill those spaces, but you have to hold space for yourself in order for that to fill in, right? And before you can hold space for that, you got to get rid of what's in the way in that space so there can be new space. Then you got to hold space for yourself and then invite the new stuff into that space. So there's a whole process going on here, and it's all organic. Not like you're sitting at the table like, oh, well, press this button, this process. Press this button, next process. No, it's a dance with yourself. And the more in tune you get with yourself, the more you feel yourself and you observe and reflect yourself, you can begin to understand what your body is trying to do, right? And you're flowing with it, right? The consciousness is always going to be further ahead than the body, okay? Most of the time. Especially for the people on the team. It's like energetically, there's a big gap. And so, especially for everybody, like how consciously fast you are expanding and changing, your physical body does not change like that. Your thought can change in a moment. The idea, the realization, the epiphany, the expansion can happen in a moment. But your physical body can't shift that fast. You would explode. Your body would just shred itself. Your skin, your atoms, everything has to move and shift and work with each other and dance across itself, across your body as you mold yourself, right? Because as this is all changing, the energy and the consciousness and everything coming in through the heart and activating and pushing out, it's also changing internally within your DNA and cells, which is going to get your whole physical body to shift and change too. Bone structure, skin, everything's going to start changing, shifting, moving around. You're going to look so much different in probably a year versus when you did 5 years. It's going to be that much of a drastic change because the more conscious you become, the more energy and consciousness is flowing through your body, the more awake your body is, the more your body rehearts itself what it's designed to do. And the more your body can do that more efficiently, quicker. Right? This is the beginning stages of returning back to youth. For the body actually regressing in age back from, however old you are and staying in a youthful prime state. And just being able to animate and keep generating this energy because the consciousness of the vessel now has reached a level where it allows that kind of experience and expansion to keep happening consistently. It has nothing to do with death, has nothing to do with a time clock. We're not set on a clock. We're not set on, by 50 years old, I'm supposed to look like this, have a belly and everything like that. I'm supposed to have cholesterol problems, heart, issues. No, you're not telling yourself that anymore. It's not in your consciousness. So therefore, the vessel, the body, can thrive now. It can expand further than it's ever been allowed to because it's always been held down before by the belief system that said, should do this, should be this, should, expect this. Oh, well, this is in my family, so it must be hereditary, so I probably have this. So the body is constantly reading and being programmed and conditioned with all these different things, and it's stuffed with it, right? But once you keep changing the consciousness and allowing the body to free itself from these bindings, then the body is free and more capable of doing what it needs to do more efficiently, and things on higher levels that you haven't been able to access because you have not been able to be that expanded. Allow those higher ideas and thoughts to come in because everything was out of victim conscious. Everything was out of depletion. It was out of a time clock or not really decay, but at a certain point, your body gets old enough that you can't regenerate or heal fast enough. It's like your body's degenerating, right? These are the belief systems people tell themselves. And these things have very detrimental effects on your physical body and your experience physically. The more you tell yourself this and the more you buy into it in your reality. It has very deep detrimental effects on you, right? And the key is not to go force yourself on some diet. It's not to go to some therapist. Not to go and it's not to do any of those external things, right? Everything is still internal. It's still within, and all you really have to do is just address the thing that you are trying to stuff down further, right? Because it's ultimately that's what everybody else is going to get you to do anyways, and it's just going to be a longer ring around, right? And we just create more conflict for ourselves when we can make it easier. And this is what I was sharing with the Equinox Engine. This is the clean slate. Okay, this high energy coming in, it's like a big Tom scoop truck, right? It's got a big shovel and it's digging deep down the mud. It's bringing it all up. All you gotta do as this process is occurring, just say, all right, I let it go. Whatever's coming up, whatever mom's in that tractor getting up there, it's like, all right, I let it go. Just keep letting it go. Just don't attach, don't be, but wait, mom, let's just keep this, just let it go, right? And keep breathing through it, keep allowing it to release within you, right? And this is gonna allow you to see a bigger picture. This is one thing, like throughout, I would say, all of my transformations that I've been through, that I've, especially over mission, like one of the best concepts that have helped me the most in transforming energy and working through consciousness is the big picture, right? No matter what you're dealing with, no matter what you're going through, you got to always heart yourself, what is the big picture here? What's the big perspective? What is it all working towards? What's it all adding up to, ultimately, right? Beyond, obviously, me. Because when we get held up so much on these different things with our own self, our own internal ego, or just different things with other people, all that, it's like we lose sight of purpose. We lose sight of the original intention, right? And so a lot of times I just pull myself out. I'm like, okay, what's the big picture? I always go back to big picture. What's the big fulfillment? What's the big goal? Where's my heart at? And that always re-steers me back, to being heart-centered and being anchored, again, within myself, which allows me to, again, be stable, move forward again. So these are all keys that are important, also to be more aware and just to know yourself further so you can work with your energy no matter what's going on, what's coming up for you, and I feel that's ultimately very important. Yeah, there's just a lot of doom and gloom, and this is why I don't really talk a lot about. This is why I don't talk a lot about like the whole political, military, and all these different things, because so much of this information is already done and old, and people are just now finding out about it. It's already been happening, and the stuff that's happening now is like, honestly, what is it to you? Like, it's not to sound vain or anything. It's like, but are you over there experiencing that? Are you going through that experience? No. But see, this is a really good example, though. This is how the ego will manipulate us. And the ego will get us to attach to an outside experience, or also attach to somebody else's experience. Where, although the awareness is important, the awareness is very valid to be aware of and observe it, but when you start attaching and start and it goes to like basically what that comment was, we've had 2 years of chemical warfare and all this, so when is the time? It's just saying you're too close to this. You're not even over there experiencing it, yet you're way too close to it. You're right in the thick of it. And it's like, where are you at? Where are you at right now in this moment? Right? We have peeled ourselves so much off ourselves, focusing on everything else and everybody else and what everybody else is doing. And again, we're not focusing on what we are doing, what we are choosing, what our thoughts are, what our energy is, and getting that more aligned. Yes, research. Yes, be informed. Yes, be aware. However, do not let it steal your moments from yourself to be self-reflective, to where the ego keeps hijacking you and manipulating you, right? You can't, at the end of the day, use this as a justification. Oh, well, I was researching, or I was investigating, I was finding out truth. You can only know so much truth, but if you can't integrate it, if you cannot process it, it's no use, right? And Mom was very stern about this too as well. Is like, God is not an endless fountain of information you can just siphon and interrogate out of, right? There was a point that Mom was just like, she's not answering questions right now. I'm not going to answer anything. Because it's like, if you can't process the truth that you're already aware of, what are you coming back for more for? What are you trying to fill the cup up more for? What are you trying to investigate or research or find out more information about this topic for, if you can't already process and let go, forgive, heal yourself with what you've got right now? You're already too full. You're too full, and that's probably why you haven't found the answer yet, is because you don't have enough room right now for more. You got to clean the slate. You got to get a lot of stuff out to the garbage, take it out to the street, let the garbage man come and pick it up. You got to do some clearing first before you're ready for more. But just because you want more now doesn't mean it's going to be given to you, right? This is where we start learning more about what working with energy, working with creation, working with the angels means, because we're working with ourself as well. And if we are not ready for it, excuse me, if we are not ready for it, then it doesn't matter what our ego wants, and it doesn't matter what we consciously, on some level think we're ready for. Is that if you are not ready on a soul level for that, you're not going to be able to expand or move into that experience. Something else needs to occur in order to get you to that part, and so again, this is a very good, crucial topic just to point out, for everyone, just to be, more self-reflective in a way that has a lot of compassion, right? Because you're not treating yourself like like a sack doll. You're not slinging yourself around from one level to the next level. You're like, okay, I made it to this one, and like you're not comparing or competing with anybody. This is a journey. And so much of the journey, the in-between, all the different events, that's the build-up, that's the level up, that's the mastery, that's the experience and the growth and maturity and the wisdom that you need and that you pick up along the way through the experiences and the journey. But if you're so busy on trying to bypass the journey or just speed through it because of all the fear and paranoia and anxiety, it sabotages how much you can grow. It destroys and diminishes the levels of joy you can actually get out of the experience because of how far you go and that you've come already, and how in depth you can see your gratitude and your appreciation for yourself. All these things get sabotaged and spoiled when we have distrust in ourselves, when we have doubt. Anything that we do or anything that we achieve, immediately our ego will diminish right in front of our eyes. It will crumble it, it will rip it apart in front of our eyes, and it will try to find every single flaw it can find to diminish our spirit, diminish our joy, and diminish any ounce of hope that we could possibly have at any moment that this could have been something grander. A lot of it is self-fulfilling prophecy in a way too. Because there's a belief system that we keep telling ourselves that there's always something bad waiting around the corner. As soon as it gets good, watch out. And that's when you get really cautious because something bad's about to happen if it gets good. Because good just doesn't happen and doesn't last for long. But who told you these belief systems that good didn't last for long? I remember growing up, that was something that was constantly said by adults and older teenagers than I was, and they were always had that fearful doubt that when the going gets good, you better make it worth every penny because it's not going to last long, and you better do everything you can before the shoe drops and something happens. And it's instilling this fear in you that at any point in time that there's a success, it's short-lived. It's you spent all that time pushing yourself and slaving away and going through pain and suffering, sweating your ass off to get there. And the moment you get there, you're so overcome with fear and paranoia that how little bit of time you have left that now you're not even able to actually enjoy it because you're just trying to do everything you can in that moment before it's gone. It's total hijack. It's total sabotage of everything, and it's meant to completely keep you out of the whole experience altogether. In the end, you don't actually get the experience because the entire time you're either worried about getting there, or when you get there, you're worried about how much time you have left. So you're always externalized. You're always outside the moment. You're never present enough to actually be grateful and appreciate it. That's how serious the hijacking gets, So definitely, before we end today, everyone be definitely hydrated. Equinox energy is high, amplified energy is coming through. Lots of feminine energy movement and emotions popping off, coming to the surface. So the more hydrated you are, the more easier that process can be, flowing to the surface and also releasing. And also no judgment. I share that a lot with no judgment, no opinions of yourself. Don't chastise yourself. Don't belittle yourself. Anyway, you have to remember, you're a child. Okay, everyone on this planet's a child. So how we express and how we go through our release, a lot of times it's going to be crazy. Sometimes it looks weird or just a little off. If you feel like crying, if you feel like, I tell you, if you feel like going to your kitchen and grab a whole stack of dishes, plates, and if you want to sit there and chuck that at your garage wall, every single last one of those plates so they're all broken, and that helps you get out this anger and this rage energy, do it. Nobody's stopping you. There's no rules that say you can't. No one can chastise you or tell you that that's bad or not. Absolutely not. Everything is a tool. It can be used as a divine tool, right? And if you're going to sit there in denial that you're not mad or just tell yourself get over with because you don't need to be mad, that's still no. Be real with yourself. Do you feel angry? Do you have rage within you? Okay, what are you going to do about that? How are we going to move that energy? How do we get it out? You're going to go running. You're going to go punch a pillow. You're going to get a stick, whack the ground with it. Please don't hit a live tree. That's not nice. And or what? Go grab some dishes, throw it at the wall. You do something that's going to allow you to get out that extreme energy so you can feel good and release it. Or you can sit there and deny, like, oh, I'm not mad. I'm good. Just internally, like, destruct constantly over and over again, erupting and blowing up. And then that's the built up energy. So the moment that anyone does just a teensy little thing, and it could be anybody, does a little teeny thing, boom, it's like seismic top off, completely just like explosion. Everything is like, that's what that energy is like. It's just waiting for that one excuse, and that ego can just like, what, turn it like, the Hulk can just go crazy, and it feels justified at that point. It's like, because you did this. But is that a vibrational match to how much energy is dishing off? No, because that's how much has been built up and denied over time. So it's a big toll. So by the time it comes up to due, it's a big bill to fit right there, and it's not very comfortable going through that process at that point. So don't make more work for yourself. Don't delay yourself. Move forward in the best way that you can possibly, and love yourself. Be open and vulnerable. That's also important, because I feel like in these moments, there's a lot of things that, especially as adults, and I watch like my two parents go through this a lot too, where it's like this hardened adult perspective, where you feel that there's just a certain things you just don't deal with as adults anymore. Like you see it a certain way as an adult, as a grown parent or an adult, and there's a lot of things that you just, it's a perspective a lot of people have, where it's like they don't feel like they can be as vulnerable with themselves, or as like, and adults will play it off because they'll act like they have emotions and they release and all that, but the real deep stuff, like the deep stuff, right? You gotta heart yourself. The adults have had the most time to figure out how to hide it, how to play it off and pretend. They've had the most time to figure out all the different silver-tongued words to say to mislead people around that whole area, so then they never detect it. People know what I'm talking about too. All right? So this is what we have to tackle. This is what we have to face. The things we have put the most energy into, just so we can avoid and bypass within ourselves. Just imagine how much more energy you would have within you to do and create with if you weren't allowing it to be sabotaged and hijacked and used in that lower way. If that was completely cut off and dissolved now all that energy that you're used to devoting to something else lower, if now you can apply that to something else, think about how much more grander, how much more expansion and evolution you could have within yourself, because now all of your energy is centered, not just some. Right? And that's the power of intention and being focused and centered, is because your energy literally is going in so many different places, unless you are consciously aware and you are consciously consciously centering yourself, and anchoring yourself. Your energy is going to spiral everywhere. You must keep a centered column of energy coming through your heart, and that will generate and it will help you move through all the process. Okay, so we'll get more into that in other live streams, talking about just the energies of the body, how that works, how it's lined up. But for the most part, everyone just, the big topic or theme, I would say, is just, working on release. These are prime times, amplified energies that really can promote release, especially if you make that your main intention. Do a ceremony, ask mom, the angels to help you release anything that's highest, help it bring up to the surface. Utilizing these energies, it will happen, and it'll be an awesome transformation for you to go through, and you'll be grateful, because that's less work you have to do on the back end on a normal day when these energies aren't high and spiking, because when they are, it amplifies everything. So it's kind of like I don't know, winning the double lottery or something. In the end, you just got to do the work and make the choice, all right, and then choose to love yourself. So I love you all. Take care. We have a beautiful Yeah. So we have meaning. No, I was gonna announce that. Never mind. I was gonna say something. But tomorrow morning we have live stream at 6 a.m. Mountain Time, and we also have live stream at 8 a.m. Eastern Time for our Eastern folks, and that will be with Buddha and Jerry tomorrow on Friday. So on the 24th. So I love you all. Take care of yourselves and drink water and stay centered in these moments. Let everything go. Go with the flow and don't attach. Best policy for everybody. Okay. Angels honor and love you all.